This is a walkthrough of the Chic Hotel by Royalton. So as the name suggests, it's a pretty, classy hotel. And yes, it's owned by the Royalton brand. It was actually funny for this trip. I was kind of debating between whether I wanted to stay at Royalton, Bavaro, or if I wanted to stay at Chic. It was literally a toss-up. I decided to go with Chic just because a lot of my coworkers have already been there and they said it was awesome. It's also no kids allowed, it's adults only, which I kind of needed just for this specific trip. It was meant to be like a nice de-stressor just because it's been a long couple months. So I've stayed at Royalton before. I've stayed at Memories before, which is kind of like a cousin of Royalton. I kind of consider Chic like Royalton's messy cousin. So before you get all defensive, let me just explain my point of view. For those of you who don't know, Royalton and Memories are kind of related brands, and I kind of would squeeze Chic in between the two. So my ranking would basically be Memories, then Chic, then Royalton. So it's kind of like, I think Chic really wants to be like Royalton, but it's just a little confused. So Chic, she thinks she's classy and, she thinks she's cute, but sometimes she gets a little messy and you're kind of like, oh no, sis, what are you doing? So that's kind of how I describe Chic, especially because I have been to different Royaltons and different Memories before. So I'd say it's definitely like in the middle. I'm super conflicted with this hotel just because the resort itself was so nice and it's very tiny, so which is great. I went during off-peak, which for those of you who don't know what that means, it's basically you just go kind of when there's less people or when flight loads are kind of not as heavy, so i.e. not summer or like not winter rush, that kind of thing. So I went during off-peak season, and actually I went just at the end of off-peak season. So I got a good time. The hotel wasn't too busy, it wasn't too dead though, so it was a nice mix. And with this one, I absolutely love the resort. I think just the placement of everything and the availability of resources, the availability of chairs by the pool, the amenities themselves, they're very plentiful. That's awesome. And everything is very cute, it's clean, the layout is great, it's small, everything's easily accessible. Just the one thing that there's more than one thing I didn't like. Let's just start with the day I first got there. So I spent a weekend there. It was a quick getaway trip. I get there and we waited a while for the hotel room, which is completely normal for resorts, honestly. But we finally got our room. The door did not lock. So unless you were inside and you deadbolted the door from the inside, the door, anyone could just kind of walk in and, take your stuff if you're not in the room. So we tried to get that fixed. That process took an hour and a half of us going back and forth with the reception and with the maintenance guy trying to fix the door. When we finally got fed up because he obviously couldn't fix it in a timely manner, we asked for another room, which is kind of annoying because it's like, if you know that your customer is just sitting around waiting, wasting, their precious daylight, especially on day one when you've already landed at, let's say, 3 o'clock and you want to make use of your time, you should be putting in a conscious effort to move us to another room. And the kicker is that this whole lock situation, apparently that's not uncommon for that building, I guess, because when we were going to check out of our room, we actually got locked out. So we were ready to swipe in, get our luggage, and go to the airport shuttle. But that didn't happen. Our door would not unlock. So we had to again go through this process of calling security so they could figure out how to unlock the door. And apparently it had been happening to a bunch of guests at that exact moment. And then while I was waiting, my sister went to go talk to reception. I was waiting outside of our door and I heard another lady who was in the same building as us, but she was on one of the upper levels. And she was talking to the concierge about how they finally had gotten into their room. It was also her day one. So the same thing that happened where her door, I guess, wouldn't lock or wouldn't unlock or whatever, it happened to her as well. The same thing that happened to us. So I thought that was really interesting. That is like, maybe it was just isolated to that building, but it was just, that was so annoying. So yeah, Chic might want to look into why that happened and maybe how to prevent it. Maybe by the time this video is posted, they've already resolved that issue. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Whatever, it's fine. That didn't happen. We had to ask for a new room. We did get a new room, which was down the hall. This one actually did lock, so that was great. But the room itself was just kind of messy, like in the sense that they just weren't clean as it could have been, and there was just grime in places where you just really wouldn't expect to see that. So it just seemed very run down. We honestly didn't spend too much time in the room for that reason, just because it was kind of like, it felt uncomfortable to be in there. So then, I mean, I guess you consider this unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view. For us, our flight ended up being delayed into the next day, so about 13 hours. So we got to spend an extra night at the hotel. Great, another day in paradise. We were happy. That was awesome. Also, shout out to Nexus, who really hooked us up and helped us get our room set up. They were really communicative about it. They got their stuff done. It was great. Thank you. Side note. So we finally got our new room so we could rest while we're waiting for our delayed flight. This new room was honestly nothing like the first room that we got. So size-wise and the room type was exactly the same as the first room, but just the cleanliness of it was completely like apples and oranges. So our new room was in building 7. Our old room was in building 8. And it was so funny how there's a stark difference between the two. And we were kind of shocked and annoyed because we were honestly ready to just go back home and tell, you know, people like how, not how bad, but just how disappointing our room was. And then we get this new room and it's so much better. So it's kind of like, how is there such a stark difference between your rooms? Maybe building 8 needed renovations or something, I don't know, but that was just super annoying knowing that we could have gotten something better and we didn't. Yeah, I think it's a very chic hotel, like it's true to its name. The only thing is, it's just a little confusing in terms of branding, like what they want to achieve. So for example, the dining rooms, they claim there's a certain dress code where you need to wear skirts and, you know, dress pants, which is typical for most hotels, but it's really not enforced like other hotels enforce it. So you'd have people showing up in their bathing suits and crop tops that are like meant for the beach, or, you know, in their beachwear still. And this is for dinner. So it's kind of like, I know you want to be chic and, you know, all of your branding suggests that, but then it's not executed. So that was just very confusing. Another thing was the dining room. It's a very open concept, which is awesome because you get access to the beach, you get to feel the breeze and stuff. But the actual place where the food is stationed, it's actually closed off and there is a door. But the problem is bugs and flies can come in so easily because the whole dining room itself is still open. So it's just, I didn't eat any of the salads and the seafood and stuff and the fruits because there were flies on them. So I think they really need to work on maintaining that. Even as simple as covering it up and having an option to open and close it. Yes, it can be tedious, but if you want that open concept kind of dining room, you need to compensate in some way. This hotel is also very Instagram friendly. So there's murals and the pool setup and they have, you know, cute signs and stuff. It's really nice. I think that's a very clever marketing strategy. And obviously it worked because I took a lot of pictures, like more than I typically do at any hotel. It was great actually. But the one thing I didn't like was they have this mermaid pool where you can go in and it's like this glass thing. You can take a picture of it, of yourself in the pool. But the problem is it's on the website, they make it seem like it's just open for everyone. But then at the entrance, there's a sign that says Diamond Club. So you really don't know if you're allowed to go in or not. And I mean, yeah, they don't monitor it. So I honestly could have just kind of snuck in there and taken a picture quickly. But I felt uncomfortable knowing that I'd have to sneak in somewhere. So I just chose not to do it. So it's kind of annoying that I missed out on a photo op just because of confusing signage or maybe miscommunication in terms of who actually can access this resource. Nonetheless, it's really cool. It's a very clever idea. I think they just need to make it more clear who can use the service and who cannot. This was a luxury room, by the way. I initially wanted to book a luxury junior suite, but I guess it wasn't available. This hotel was booked. I got it on a special deal, so I don't really know how much it was supposed to cost or what the typical process is for booking this. This was something where I just got an amazing hookup. It wasn't sponsored by the hotel or anything, but I just got an amazing hookup and I had to just kind of jump on this chance to take the trip. So I'm not too sure if that maybe impacted why I got the crappy room that I did, but that really should not be one of those situations, like, especially because I'm shelling out so much money for this. So that was a little annoying. Okay, I hope this helped. Anyone who's looking into booking at the Chic, I think I would definitely book again, just being more cautious of which room I actually select. Overall, it was a nice hotel. The resort itself is beautiful. I know there's a big seaweed issue that everyone's talking about in the Caribbean, but like, if you don't like it, just kind of suck it up, because anywhere you go there's going to be seaweed, and it's no exception with this hotel. So I think that really shouldn't deter someone from picking this hotel specifically. I think it was good. I'd book again, but I think if I were to book another hotel in Punta Cana specifically, it wouldn't be Chic as my first choice. It'd probably be Royalton or another brand that's similar to Royalton. Nonetheless, though, if you're looking for a good getaway that's adults only, this would be a great option for you. Okay, I hope this review rundown was helpful in some way. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments below. Bye!